Okay, Randy's got the intake manifold off of Randy's truck, and that's the tube. I'm thinking about maybe replacing that tube down in there because they rust out from the inside. It'll cause a major coolant leak. But this truck also has a broken flex plate between the transmission and the engine, and I really do believe that the reason behind that is when this transmission was put in, that bracket was stuck behind the engine and between the bell housing and the engine, to where that transmission is not fully mated to the engine, which causes a major vibration, and it's cocked off to one side. So it's probably why the flex plate broke. But it was a really good idea to replace this tube down in here. It goes to the back of the water pump. It's got a lot of rust. These bolts are really rusted badly, and it probably would not be a bad idea to replace these, replace the knock sensor while it's down inside there too. If that bolt would come out, I'm not sure. This thing's rusted really bad. Put a new water pump on it. It's possible it might have been leaking a little bit. I see some clean spots down there below it. And as far as the intake manifold gasket leaking, I got the intake manifold off of it and got the gaskets here. And if you look at this gasket here, it should be those rubber inserts, these white rubber O-rings that are inside that plastic are smashed fully, and there's no, those rubbers should be expanded and taken up the gap. So both intake manifold gaskets look just like that, and that's more than likely where most of the vacuum leak was coming from, causing the P0171 and 174 code. On top of that, the manifold tuning valve. But if we didn't pull this intake manifold off this thing, we probably would have noticed that bracket that's jammed in between there. Let's try to zoom in on it a little bit. Right there. It doesn't look like there might even be a bolt in there.
Should be right there.
Yeah, that bracket should be right where the hole is, right down below it.
Side of the aluminum.
And that hole right there. So that bracket should be right in that hole right there. And it doesn't even look like there may be a bolt in that hole. Can you see anything back there if there's a bolt?
No, but it's tight. I can't get it to pry.
Well, unfortunately, we got to pull the transmission out anyway to replace the broken flex plate. That's what the knocking noise is. And I got to apologize for my lousy video taking. But there's nothing that we can't handle down here. Take you back to the intake manifold. And I got this on the bench here. The tuning valve is right here in the lower intake, and it was leaking around the seal. Vacuum was leaking around the seal where this tuning valve goes into the lower manifold. We saw smoke coming out in an earlier video. We're going to be replacing the manifold, but I'm going to be doing a smoke test. I'm going to plug up all the holes in the intake runners, as well as any vacuum ports. That's a coolant port, but the throttle body opening and any other vacuum ports, I'm going to be plugging those up and injecting smoke to see if I can get any smoke to come out of this plastic lower housing, because I have a feeling that there may be. But then again, there's also a gasket down inside there where there's bolts bolt together. You got to get to it through the front. There's a gasket that lines up down inside there, and that could be leaking too. So I'm going to be verifying this entire vacuum leak situation is causing the trouble code for the lean mixture 171 and 174. It's pretty filthy, a lot of carbon buildup in it, but we'll be getting back to it in a little bit. And thank you very much for right now. This is Randy Barnes, 2003 Ford F-150. It's a clone of a Harley-Davidson pickup truck, F-150 Lariat 4.6. VIN code is a 6, not a W, but a 6.